Hello world, Justin Tucker again here. In this video tutorial, continuing the series about the Drupal 7 convention and membership platform. In this tutorial, we're going to go over taking each one of these sections and kind of building a separate view for it and displaying these in different ways. For example, the photo gallery will want to display as photos, whereas maybe these we want to remain as links, or maybe add to cart or something to that effect, or a view button, for example. So that's what we're going to be focusing on. So a lot of this is going to be a views exercise and doing a lot of work in the views interface. As I said in another video, views is one of those things that, like the matrix, you just kind of need to see it and deal with it, and it will start to make sense as you go. There are video tutorials completely dedicated to views, and rightfully so. It is an incredibly deep subject because it is a query builder. Then, kind of in theory, in my mind, the subject is as deep as, the different queries that you could conjure and make. So this interface, again, very powerful, staple power tool of Drupal. Everybody who uses Drupal kind of understands views, so this is very important. So through this tutorial, I'll probably be going through this what feels like fast, just because it would be totally outside the scope of things to go into every single option button, radio button, checkbox, all that. So I'll just kind of keep it focused and tell you what I'm doing and where you got to go to accomplish it, and hopefully that can get your foot in the door on understanding views and going down that rabbit hole yourself. So what I did is, let me just back up. I logged into my platform here, and you can get into a view a couple ways. Because this is a view content pane, I can get a little view edit option through the gearbox. Another way is to go up through structure and to get to all of your views. And so this table down here again, as we saw in another video, is being controlled, and we don't see any results. And in this case, that is actually correct, because this view is configured to say, show me the title and the type of any content that has a field of registration event, and it has to be filled out. And if so, show me all of the pages that reference that event whose ID is given to us via the URL, which is probably most commonly used. There's a lot of other things we can do here. Again, not going to go into all of these. We're just going to use the ones we need to make this happen. So I know for a fact that my 2018 perfectly optimized fictitious convention is node ID of 1. So if I put the ID in, this is the little URL mimicker, okay, and if I hit update preview, I get this list here. And earlier I had organized the table to group by type, okay. So we can actually leave this alone. I'm not don't have any heartburn over this. We might even be able to use it later to kind of give a summary of all content just for an event for a user. But for now, I'm going to use this as the starting point to clone this view into another display, and then I'm going to start making additions to it to kind of isolate down. Instead of showing me all content, maybe just show me registration options, or show me just photo galleries. So let's go ahead and click clone this view display, and the first thing I want to do is go rename it. So I'm going to call this, let's see, photo galleries per event. And I'm also going to come here and change it. Now, once you get past the display name and get into anything else, okay, whether it be this, notice how it says for all displays. It will say it here as well, everywhere you look. Well, not everywhere. Yeah, this middle column is going to be for the pane only. like trying to find where else. Well, terrible example, not for everything, but for most things that you'll be dealing with, you'll see this for all displays at the top. The reason I'm harping on this, it is a very, very common mistake. I make it till this day to go in here and say, all right, let me change this to photo galleries per event, and then I hit apply. Now what happens when I do that is that my other view, kind of in this shadow area, my initial view will also get its name updated, and I don't want that, and it will because I have this set for all displays. So I actually want to choose for this pane only. It is very, very common to forget this, and you hit save, and then it overwrites this, and you got to go back and correct that one and come back here and tell it to overwrite. So if you find yourself doing that, don't feel bad. Very common mistake, but yes, I want this title to be different from this title of all content. I also want the format to not be the same. I'm going to choose Fluid Grid. This was a module I added early on. For now, I'm just going to say 200 by 200. Again, just kind of filling out boxes here of configuration options. Don't think we need anything there. Again, I chose only this display, this panel only. Otherwise, it would have turned this table into a fluid grid. And you'll notice that you get this italicized effect when a field on this display is being overridden, or a property on this interface is being overwritten. And let me go ahead and throw the ID in there of 1 so I can see some content. And so basically just gave the stuff we saw in the table layout, but in this grid layout. So now I want to actually remove, I'm going to hit rearrange and choose this only. I'm going to remove type. I'm going to hit apply. And I want this to isolate only by photo gallery. So I'm going to be engaging with the filter criteria of saying, again, I want to say override. I'm going to search by content type, or not search, but filter by. I'm going to say is one of. And once we find photo gallery, there it is. You'll see that I get my one post of photo gallery. So this is working out, but we don't want the title. Let's say we want a thumbnail. So I know that there is an image field on that content type, so that's all I have to bring in. And this lets me know that, hey, you're using that same image field in all of these other instances. Again, one of the really cool and powerful things about Drupal is the ability to reuse fields. So I know that I want to bring in the image field. Don't need to give it a label. Image formatter, we'll get into this later when we get into more cleanup and design. And multiple settings, I had multiple images. So this is something to think about. If I say 1 here, then what we get is this effect of a thumbnail that when we open takes us into all the other images. These are just too big. Let me just adjust this real fast. Again, there's a whole slew of tools and things to handle images and resizing them. But here's a better collection of images. And then what this represents is basically an album. So this kind of comes down to the use case of the event. Is there going to be multiple photo galleries? Meaning, will we have maybe 5 thumbnails, and each thumbnail represents its own page of a different set of images? If so, then we just need to clean this up a little bit more, and this will probably suffice. So I'll just go ahead and save this. This will show our example. To me, this is the more flexible way to do it. The other way we could do it is, let's say we're in the model of there's only going to be one gallery per event. To me, that's not very flexible, but let's say that was the case. You could come in here to multiple field settings and say all values from 0, and yeah, first item is 0 in PHP world. You can kind of get this effect and then worry about how these stack, whether it's in a row or a column like this or in a row. But these are just echoing all the images from this one post. So again, in my opinion, I think it is better to leave it flexible to where you can have multiple image galleries, and then when you click on this you get to a page dedicated to all the images in that gallery, much like this. And I'll make this adjustment here. I'll make the event it's linkable to, or connected to, linkable. So even if we are, okay, hey, great, let's look at the images of this event. Okay, let's go back to our 2018 conference we were just at. So that's kind of how all that connects. And what I'll do now is take this pane and actually go into this panel and add that somewhere. So this is probably a good time to look at maybe changing the layout. I don't know. We'll use this double Sutro, or Sutro double. It seems to be rather flexible. In this process, it's asking, okay, hey, you have all this content in this one area. Where would you like it to go? Really don't have any options here. We'll just say the header, hit update and save. And you're actually done with this part. You then need to go into the content section, and now we have these other areas we can put stuff. So let's see here. We'll leave our create content links up at the top. The full content might be good there, and we'll move all content down to some column on the left. And I'm going to bring in now, I don't know, I'll just bring in the photo galleries per event. Well, maybe I'll just do this for now. Well, this is all going to be changing. What this should demonstrate is how we've taken the photo gallery content type and manifested it in its own viewport, its own view. And there it is. So again, one way to do it is to stack it in here where we just have a link. Another way to do it is to actually show the thumbnail, or the first thumbnail of each post. So if we had another photo gallery added, which I'll just do that real fast. Again, it's connected to the right event. I'm just going to pick this blue photo for demonstration purposes. I'm going to hit save, and now we have our other gallery right there. And again, these will just stack and forever stack as long as you fill these out on this page belonging to this event, because these are galleries for this event. The other thing I need to do probably at this point is change the appearance to, let me go grab responsive Bartik, which is a 777 very clean theme. Maybe too clean. It's not that pretty, but it will it'll really help with demonstrating things. I'm also going to take out the sidebars so we have a little bit more room to see how things are laying out. And I'll enable and set as default. I'm also going to start using the default theme or the responsive Bartik theme for admin pages. And let's get rid of these elements over here. We don't really need them right now. So I'm going to go to blocks and say none, none, User login, let's, I don't know, put it in the footer. System help is fine. Let's save that. Okay, so now if I go to my 2018 fictitious convention, okay, a lot more room here. A lot more space to do stuff with. All right, so I think what I'm going to do now is break out these other views into other sections like this so that I can move them around independently and not have them forced to all be in this one organized table. So to continue that idea, it's fairly straightforward. I can go to my photo galleries per event. I can go to this one, but I'm mainly going to clone most everything I have here. I'm going to say meals per event. Now, because I cloned it from the photo gallery, these values also cloned to override this, so you don't have to remember it every time, which is nice. And primarily all I need to change for this to function correctly is the content type that we're filtering by. Let me go ahead and put this in there so that we see our meal type. But fluid grid doesn't really make sense for this. We'll say unformatted list. And this is where we'll do something different here. I'm going to say content and not fields under the show fields. We're going to say no, show content. When you do this in views, it says, all right, what type of display would you like us to show? And where this comes into play is, let's see, we're on meal products. Okay. So under manage display of the content types, you have default and you have teaser under the manage display tab. That is what corresponds to full content is default, and then you have teaser. You also have these other displays, but they're on other entities. And this is asking, right, if I do nothing else, it's going to want to display it in this teaser format, which apparently is configured to look like this. Here's the full body format, which will have these fields. And so this is a way that you can make different display formats or types, and you can actually expand on this and make more if needed with certain modules. But for our purposes today, we're just going to say full content, display links, and you'll notice that we get this full option. Now, if I want to get rid of meal day, meal type, meal food type, I think they're right here. And they're saying that we'll need to modify the settings of this field in order to get rid of them. So here I am actually on the product types, and I'm going to go into the meals, not manage fields, but manage display in the products, or the product types. And I believe these are the things that are controlling why we see these right here. And the fact they're told to show as a link is why I think they're linkable. So we're just going to say, actually on the format, we're going to say hidden. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to click Update Preview again, and they went away. So this is a full rendered node, technically, of the meal options that only belong to the 2018 annual conference year. That's probably something else that we don't need to see in the word reference products. We don't necessarily need to see either. So how we can do that is right here under product types meals, that's how we held these, or hid these, I'm sorry. Under the content type of meal product display is where we are going to be able to hide these two fields, or I'm sorry, this one field and then the label of this one. So we'll just say the reference registered event, we can hide that guy, and we want to hide that label, but leave it here. So we'll go down and save that. All right. And I'm going to come back to this view and go ahead and save it. And then I'm going to go back to my 2018 annual conference here. All right. I'm going to hit Edit Panel. And I'm going to add in another view pane of C, meals per event. I'm going to kind of move things around here. Photo galleries would be something that you kind of view, where meals and products are things that you're going to be engaging with. We'll put this master table here at the bottom for now. Why can I not? There we go. We'll update and save. And there's our meals per event. And again, this meal option is absolutely attached to this conference. Totally understands that. Meals per event, we probably don't need that title. So if I click this and go edit view, this is where that's coming from. So if we just take that out and save this again, it should take us right back and show it without the title. So okay, there's that. Now again, does this look good? Is this laid out attractively? Of course not. But we're still in the process of linking things up, putting things together. And really what we did in this tutorial, which 20 minutes is long enough for this, we basically just took this single view here and made new displays that isolated photo galleries, and we chose to display it with some images in there. And then we also made a view display that brings in only the meal options, and this is how the user can make choices. And you'll notice the price changes and all the options change based on how we have it configured when we go and edit things. Again, here's all our variations, etc. So that let me back up. That demonstrates that. So in the next couple of videos, we're going to be extending this idea and making a section so you can get shirts, making a section so you can register and download stuff, and hotel and lodging. And we're just going to break each one of these out and then put it somewhere on this page. Again, not really making a lot of consideration for looks just yet because we're still putting things together logistically. If you guys are enjoying these videos, please consider subscribing. Really appreciate that, and that lets me know to make more. And if you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please feel free to reach out. I welcome the communication. Otherwise, that should conclude this video. I'll see you on the next one.